What's up YouTube, TheMainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always. I'm diving into the next viewer question here, but I felt I wanted to share with all of you on YouTube. And it is a viewer who asked me to talk about the Netsu system of Tag 2. And I think a more general point to make here is that Tag 2 was very much needlessly complicated. And we're gonna get into the Netsu. I mean, yeah, get ready to get confused, by the way, when you look at this chart. You're like, what's this Excel document? And this was very complicated, and this is just one small part of Tag 2. But so just to compare with Tekken 7, how is Tag 2 needlessly complicated? Well, just due to the nature of it being a tag game, with every single fight, you are always going up against two characters. And that always means, of course, that you're getting your matchup knowledge tested twice every match. Oh, okay, that's a Lily. I know Lily. Oh, swap. Oh, it's Miguel. Oh, what? No, that was the game. It's like, you always had, maybe you knew one of the characters, but it always matched up with a character where you're like, what? It's, so your character knowledge certainly was put to the test, and with 50 characters, now we have 50 characters in Tekken 7 as well, but back in those days with that game, it was just an absurd number of characters. It was so jarring. And then, of course, a game where, you know, the tag mechanic itself, how to do a manual tag, and then if you didn't play the game, there was actually a tag assault. If you were grounded and your team had access to rage, you could press R1 and tag, and your character would actually jump in with this flying cross chop. And that would be a very different tag, and you would actually sacrifice your rage to do that. And of course, all of the teams had very different combos. The tag assault was enormously complicated. Or I think it was JDCR who said that after 5 years of Tag 2, we understand 10% of Tag 2. And he believes that because the tag assault itself has just unlimited potential. Even 5 years into that game, people will find, oh, if you do this sequence with character A and B, you get an inescapable death combo. Or, oh, if he tech rolls here, I get an unblockable tech trap that does 200 damage. I'm not exaggerating here. You had that sort of stuff. So it was just unlimited, the amount of stuff you could do with the tag mechanics. And a horribly unforgiving and complicated Oki system where, you know, in Tekken 7, when you lie down on the ground and you try and stand up by holding back, the character immediately stands up and blocks. In Tag 2, you back roll, and during that back roll, at any point, you can be punched out of it and relaunched. Or tech roll, punched out of it, relaunched. And this was in a game where a combo lasted like 10 seconds. It's like launched, 10 seconds, and then you're on the ground, and you twitch on the ground. Relaunched, tag assault, 10 seconds, You know, no wonder casuals did not like that game. My God, it was unforgiving. So I'm just trying to give you a very, very brief recap of the unnecessary complexity. But what my viewer wanted me to talk about was specifically this. This is the Netsu chart of relationships. And this is just one little aspect of the game you had to take a look at if you wanted to be good at this game. And holy shit, this alone is complicated. So this is basically the, again, it's called the Netsu chart of relationship. And this is basically, according to the lore of the game, how much the characters like each other. So for example, if I go to Heihachi here, this is a guy that doesn't have a lot of friends, to say the least. I can just follow him here towards the right, and you just see mostly red. These are characters he really, really dislikes. And of course, here we have his family. We have Jinpachi, Jun, and Kazuya. You see, what this red box here means that entangles Heihachi and Kazuya is that they don't like each other, is what the chart says. So how does this affect the gameplay? It has a profound impact on those of us who like those characters. I liked, my favorite team was Heihachi and Kazuya. And what this meant, this red box here, was that they get rage very, very late. You have very little HP left when they get rage. So this is basically, I start with Kazuya, he gets beaten up, you know, and the more he gets beaten up, your tag partner gets rage because they don't like seeing their partner get beaten up. But of course, with story-wise Kazuya and Heihachi, he actually doesn't give a shit if Kazuya gets beaten up. He actually likes it. And this translates into the game so that they get a bad Netsu relationship. So, just for me playing that team, I had access to rage very late. And this is in a game where rage gives you 140% damage output. So it had a huge impact on the gameplay, this Netsu chart. Because if characters had a good relationship, like Asuka here with Jun, you got a green square. And here, if you had that, rage would actually trigger already at around 40% HP left. Super early, Jun would go, oh no, Asuka's getting beaten up, I want to help her. Boom! Rage, 140% damage. It had an enormous impact on the gameplay. And this was so important, obviously, that a lot of people who wanted to go with a new team or like, who should I pair up with my main? Well, if you wanted to do well in this game, yeah, you better check your goddamn chart to see who likes who. It's like, okay, I like Heihachi. I really want to main Heihachi. Is there anyone he does well with? Oh, okay, makes sense story-wise. Kuma. They have a green box. This means this is actually a partner Heihachi can have and actually access rage. And Heihachi with rage damage in Tag 2 is some of the most obscene stuff you'll ever see. You'll start begging to see some Tekken 7 Paul again, trust me. And for some reason, he actually also likes Xiaoyu. Maybe this is due to them sharing an ending there with Tekken 3. Another character who's interesting to look at is Jinpachi, who we haven't seen since Tag 2, obviously, or we saw for the first time playable in Tag 2. Well, if you can count DR, but he's a boss character there. He's a legit character. And he should be green with Kazuya, right? Oh, interestingly, he is not. They are actually neutral, you see? There's no box. Neutral. I would think they would have synergy considering they have a combo together. Ah, this one makes sense. He has only one green square. You know who it is with? Wang. Wang. No, the character Wang Jinrei, the old man, not Sausage Wang. Makes sense. You know, have you seen their very heartfelt Tekken 5 story mode? Yeah, it's one of the best storylines in Tekken history, I would say. It's so well made. But, yeah, I hope you're starting to understand how incredibly complicated Tag 2 is. With the tag system, the Oki system, the fact that you're always 2 versus 2. 50 characters, the rage system. It's like the complexity of this, and the tag assault. The tag assault itself, you could write a book about it in terms of what that does with the gameplay. So yes, I hope you understand now how unbelievably complicated Tag 2 is, that game. It failed the Tekken series. It almost killed it. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great things in Tag 2, but yeah, I think it's for the better that we simplified things to a bit in Tekken 7. And maybe some stuff is a little bit too simplified in Tekken 7. But I'd rather go that direction than go back to this. So I hope that was interesting to you guys. Thanks for listening to me.